Hey guys, it's Rachel. I am still doing the videos to catch up, and I wanted to get this one done today because we are going to have a bit of a change with the videos, because we're going to do some for Christmas for you rather than continuing with the rota that we had. Today I'm going to look at something called body checking. My camera isn't very straight, is it? I'm sorry. Here we go. Is that better? There we go. Obviously I've experienced body checking, if you want to term it that way, through my eating disorder. And whilst I've thought about it and obviously engaged in it, I never really saw it as a thing or as a behaviour. It was there and it was very prominent, and it was clear that I was obsessed with weighing myself, checking myself, trying clothes on all the time. And it was only when I was fortunate enough to come across some resources that have been used in a hospital eating disorder unit, and they actually come from one of the girls who is in my recovery group, and I thought it was like a really interesting topic to go into. So I'm going to give you some examples of it, and I'm going to try and describe what body checking is as well. It's listed here that it's to do with being preoccupied with thoughts about weight and shape, that you maintain that over-evaluation of control over eating, weight and shape. You might constantly check your appearance, constantly look in mirrors. You may weigh yourself multiple times a day, which I know is not uncommon. You might check your body, measuring certain parts of your body, see whether there's been any changes or fluctuations in terms of, say, measuring your waist or your thighs. You might pinch your skin, as in trying to detect what you believe is fat, which generally is not fat and is either muscle or nothing, or loose skin. That's something I do want to say to you, that when you lose weight, or even when you've been up and down with weight, I know that something I went through was having a lot of loose skin because my weight had fluctuated so much. It's very addictive. If you are weighing yourself once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, it's very hard to then say only do it once a day, only do this once a day. In terms of a behaviour, in my opinion, I think it is something that needs to sort of be stopped completely. When it comes to weighing, I think when it comes to measuring yourself, whatever means you're measuring yourself, whether you're using tape measures or whatever, is to get rid of those. One thing that I did religiously, probably numerous times a day, was trying on my clothes. I was so petrified that I would just gain weight overnight that I had to make sure, just in case, that I tried on literally everything in my wardrobe. And if there was something that I didn't think about, I was like, I didn't try that on, I need to try that on. I cannot leave the house, I cannot do anything until I've made sure that all of my clothes feel the same. And obviously, depending on whether I was feeling okay about myself or shocking about myself, determined how those clothes felt on me. So if my weight hadn't changed, but in my head I felt like I had gained weight, those clothes would feel differently on me. And this is what you're up against if you're going to be doing something like that. If you try on a pair of trousers today, and then you try on the same pair of trousers tomorrow, if your head is in a worse place tomorrow, those trousers are going to feel tighter, you're going to think you look bigger in them, and that's the truth of what the disorder does to you. So depending on where your head is, which sounds like an incredibly obvious thing, those things are going to feel different. There's some body checking behaviours that I want to just list here, which include weighing, which we've discussed. We've discussed studying parts of your body in the mirror, looking at your body in reflective surfaces, so when you're out and about and there's mirrors or glass or, I don't know, car windows, all of that type of thing, persistently checking that. Pinching your skin, trying to convince yourself that there's fat on you, pulling it, stretching it, feeling that that is just fat that's on you. One I've just mentioned that was something I really struggled with, which was assessing the tightness of clothes on myself, checking muscles, seeing whether your legs are muscly or is there fat on them, And then the other one with regards to body checking is to do with comparing your body. Now, that was something that was a really big problem for me as well. And it wasn't so much that I wanted to be, obviously I wanted to be thinner, and it wasn't so much that I was obsessed with media or what was put out there. But I do remember very clearly having shows on and pausing them when one of the actresses was turned sideways and looking at myself in the mirror. So I would have the television, it sounds insane, the television here, and I would have this person at an angle. I would put myself in the same angle in front of the mirror, and I would try and ascertain whether there was any difference. And if there was a difference, I would become obsessed with that part of my body, completely and utterly obsessed with that one part of my body if it didn't match up to whoever's body that day I was comparing myself to. So another day I might compare the size of my thighs, and I might see a person when I'm out, or I might see somebody I know and I will be convinced that I look completely different. I will look at photos, I will look at what I look like compared to that. Obviously media images don't help that, because they are putting images out there which are perfect, and that's all I would say to you, that they are perfect. And so the media is either bigging up somebody, or they're taking a picture of them on holiday and telling you how fat they are. And all I can say to that is that whatever they put in magazines is absolute bullshit anyway, because how are they supposed to know what people weigh? How do they know what size those people are? How do they know what height those people are? It's not like that's information that they're able to get hold of. And the images are adjusted and changed to be a certain way. But when your head is in that place, like when my head was in that place, I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't rationalize it, and I guess that's the biggest problem when you're struggling with an eating disorder. I've just discussed why some of those behaviours are unhelpful to you. One that's popped up here is that you're looking for fat. You're looking in certain areas for fat, and if you in your head are convinced enough that there is fat all over your body, you will find fat. You will look in the mirror and you will see fat all over you. Your mirror image will be so distorted because in your head you think you are fat. So you look in the mirror and all you're going to see is fat. You're not going to see yourself for how you are, and that's something you're going to just have to accept when you're in recovery, that what you are seeing is not what you are seeing. And actually something very interesting happened when I was in Paris last month. The mirrors in the hotel were beyond horrendous, and for somebody who is completely comfortable in her own body, I freaked out. And I stood there with my girlfriend, and I had the mirror was here in front of me, and I had my girlfriend stood next to me, and I looked in the mirror that was kind of here, and I looked at my body and I was like, when did that happen? That was my response. I was like, when did my body go from what I normally see at home to what I'm seeing? And I turned to my girlfriend and I said, what is going on here? She was like, that mirror, I can't bear that mirror, I cannot look in that mirror. I looked in the mirror and I got her to look at my mirror image, and for her to then look at me, and she was like, that mirror makes you look like you're about 3 sizes bigger than you are. Okay, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being 3 sizes bigger than I am, but that distortion was unbelievable, and I actually made her do the same thing so that she could see that it was a distortion. Now that was a kind of example, I guess, of, I can't remember because I can't remember what it felt. I remember the feelings of looking in the mirror, but I can't remember it being distorted because it was distorted in my head. So that's something to bear in mind when you're thinking about these things. So yeah, distortion, yeah, there's all of that. And another aspect of this, so rather than you being the person who constantly checks, so I would constantly check myself when I was at home, like the mirrors, and I would weigh myself and try my clothes on. The other one is avoidance. Whenever I went out, I avoided anything which would mean I saw my reflection, whether facially or body. I avoided everything. Avoidance behaviours are avoiding looking at yourself in the mirror, wearing clothes that don't show any of your body, so literally just a big jumper and that being it. Shopping for clothes, I'm not quite sure why they've put that down, but weighing you avoid shopping for clothes because you are terrified that if you are a certain size that you will need 5 sizes bigger than that, and you'll pick that up and then you won't want to try it on because you'll be scared it doesn't fit. So if you are a size 12, because I want to trigger people, you will probably think, well, actually I'm a size 18, so I'm going to buy a size 18, and then you'll put it on yourself and it drowns you, and you're kind of, it's that conflict between, I'm scared of trying on clothes because I'm not going to fit because I'm so much bigger. You'll even avoid weighing yourself. That's one that you either do weigh yourself or you don't, because you're so terrified, so petrified of what that's going to mean. Won't want to see yourself naked, will cover up mirrors. That's something I have done in the past. I've literally hung towels over mirrors because I just could not deal with what I looked like. That you won't be intimate with people or have close contact with them. You don't want to see yourself naked, let alone somebody else. The obvious is that avoid doing all of this makes your perception with your body shape even worse. And whilst it isn't particularly healthy to weigh yourself all the time, I sometimes think that if a person does weigh themselves and they see what their real weight is, not this huge number that's in their head, that it is a bit of a reality check, to be honest with you. I mean, it has to be carefully done. Avoidance is about wanting to avoid distress. But in the end, like I've just said, it can become even worse for you, because if you avoid, your body might be changing, your body might be going in different ways, and you're just avoiding it all the time. You're never going to actually have a real perception of what you do look like. I did talk about some of the behaviours. I think things like weighing yourself, it is do or die, and it is, you either keep those scales and weigh yourself 300 times a day, or you get rid of them. And you can reduce these behaviours. You can maybe, if you put towels over your mirrors, it seems very extreme, but maybe take the one which only shows kind of your face rather than your body. You could maybe allow somebody to weigh you and let them make a decision about where that weight is. So I could maybe do that with a friend and say, well, actually, let me weigh you, and I will tell you whether your body has changed or not, and I will try and help you rationalise some of that. It's recommended that you do here, and I'm actually just going to show you here, behaviour distress rating. So they've put here, wearing a figure hugging dress, what's your level of distress between 1 and 100? Wearing a sleeveless top, letting my partner hug me, trying on new clothes, looking at myself naked in the mirror, looking at myself in the mirror wearing only my underwear, looking at myself in the mirror fully clothed. So you can break that down. So looking at yourself in the mirror fully clothed might make you feel 50 out of 100, but looking naked might make you feel like literally 90, and the idea of somebody else seeing you even more than that. With the list, it's about trying to challenge some of that, and trying to understand that those feelings of anxiety aren't going to last forever, and that you can build confidence. That say if you do go and buy yourself a new top, that's your challenge too. Sorry, my feet have gone a bit. Your challenge is to go out and buy a new top, and you do that, and you get the size that you believe you are. And I mean, I would say don't even look at sizes, but obviously when we pick up clothes, pick up a number of clothes. Just try. I mean, one thing that I used to do is pick up a row of clothes, I'm not even kidding you, put them in the changing rooms, didn't know which size was what, and like literally pick one out of all of them and just try all of them on to see which one fit, and try not to know the size, because that's only going to make you more distressed, or it could make you less distressed if you realise that it's being rationalised what's going on. I'm going to leave it there, guys. You will have a video from me later in the week, because we're going to do some Christmas ones, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.